Now to talk about the New York Knickerbockers. It's currently the town's topic. I think we all know that when the Knicks are even just giving any sort of reason to be in the news, they're going to be in the news. They're going to be the news. Happens to be, well, as of last night, not super positive, but there's a positive reason to have the team in the news, and it's that they're in the NBA playoffs for the first time in 8 years. They're in the first round, matched up against the Atlanta Hawks, and have shown a little bit of struggle and a little bit of fight as well. I don't think it's the worst spot for this team to be in, and I think out of all the teams in the league, if you want to rank them by fight, if you want to rank NBA teams by resilience and by passion or whatever, rule of thumb, have a Tom Thibodeau team top five. So if there's going to be a squad that could, come back, this New York Knicks squad wouldn't be the worst of bets. They showed game two that they can take a loss, they can take a punch, they can regroup, come back, give one back. Game three, they took another punch in a more decisive fashion than in game one. Jack, I have to go to you first to get a Bostonites perspective on New York and Atlanta's battle. Give me the unbiased shakedown on how you think this series is going so far. Just anything that surprises you from either team.
Well, it is worth mentioning that I'm in enemy territory right now, talking to you and Aiello. I was definitely not surprised, but so happy as we mentioned before to see the intensity and the energy in and around Madison Square Garden. But a surprise for me has been Julius Randle's struggles, especially as they've even thrown John Collins at him at times, who is not known for his defense by any means.
Fair assessment.
And we're seeing him in these kind of ISO situations, his back to the hoop. I'm really curious to see how they adjust or if Randall is able to improve on his performances these past three games to give them, a much needed spark.
Absolutely. I want to go to Thomas to ask about Julius Randle's struggles because personally, I watch him play and I see a guy who is very good at basketball, is not worse at basketball in my mind because of this series, but who just figured out last year that he's capable of being a number one option, just figured out this year how to be a number one option, and is now in the NBA playoffs where the game slows down and the court shrinks and every possession matters a whole lot more than they seemed to in the regular season. You can't play around with a single minute or a single second of the game. Julius Randle as the number one option seems to be struggling, and I don't know if it's the orange and blue contacts that I'll have forever, implanted in front, blocking my eyesight. But I'm of the opinion that, like, if this means that he's a number two, that it's totally okay because this team wasn't supposed to be here in the first place. I want to go to a New York fan to ask about Randall because I have to say, there's already a trade Randall faction forming amongst the fan base. It's reactionary is what it is, but it's forming.
Okay. Knicks fans did the trade Randall thing last year. Don't do it again. Please don't do it again. He just won everyone over by not being a Beyblade or whatever nickname Basketball Reference gave him. He reportedly blocked Knicks pages. All of that's been undone. He's fine. I think where he struggles.
I will say that the blocking Knicks pages has not been undone. There's one very famous Knicks page that is still blocked by their all-star. Fun little nugget.
Oh, boy. But I think the problem with him is the lack of just not being in the playoffs for his whole career. This is the first time he's gone. And this is the first time he's on a team where he's basically has to do everything. He's the engine. He's the passer, the playmaker, the scorer, the rebounder. He's not the defender, but Randle's asked to do a whole lot on a team that lacks skill players. The Atlanta Hawks, who are the antithesis of the Knicks in pretty much every way, they don't play very good defense compared to the Knicks, and offensively they are an 8-9 man show when everyone's hot. They have 7 guys, in my opinion, who are capable of scoring 10 points or more a game. My concern here is, do you have enough fight in you to compete with this overwhelming Atlanta machine on offense? That's my fear. Do you have enough firepower on defense to keep up with Trae Young? And do the Knicks have enough fight to not let the Hawks just overwhelm them with threes and dunks and lobs and other things that you can do on offense when you have skill players? That's my fear. And from last night, I've been proven right so far.
The Knicks are in a position, as Thomas was saying, where they're getting a lot of punches from this Atlanta team. They have to be able to have the fight to stay in it. I think they have it. I think it's about capturing lightning in a bottle here, because this team, again, not supposed to win a playoff series, and yet they have a chance to. They need Julius to heat up. They need Julius to heat up, period. Because you saw the second half of game 2. Julius Randle, in the first half, unable to get it going in the half court. Totally. He gets going within the flow of the game. And all of a sudden, Julius is hot. Reggie's open. Reggie's hot. RJ's open because Reggie and Julius are hot. RJ's hot. D Rose comes in. Now they're screwed. Like, it's that simple. It takes Julius turning it on to get another guy to turn it on, and the dominoes fall real quick after that. The problem is that the Knicks don't have another guy besides Julius. Brooklyn Nets have 3 guys that they can say, hey, you go get something started. Golden State Warriors, not even in the playoffs, they have the best shooter of all time to say, hey, you go get things started. The New York Knicks don't have – they have over 30-year-old Derrick Rose to say, hey, go get things started. It's working. He's playing well. Can't be it. So I want to touch quickly before we wrap up this segment on some help that the Knicks might find from within. We're hearing about Mitchell Robinson. There was apparently a glitch in CBS's system prior to game 2 that listed him as a game time decision. I looked into said glitch. I poked around. And apparently, even if it was a glitch, there's nothing going on with Mitchell Robinson. If you watch the video in which Kyden Randle presents him with his MIP trophy, Mitch is in there on the court in a t-shirt working out with the team. It's concerning detective work that I noticed that, but he was there. He was there. And I'm hearing that he's looking good. He's looking, closer to healthy, whatever it is. Those are the rumblings I'm getting from around the team. I just have to ask, if you guys are the Knicks, do you try bringing Robinson back against Atlanta?
You don't rush it, because I don't know if the biggest changes that need to be made are what you've mentioned. Like Derrick Rose can't be taking 21 shots per game. And it definitely gives you help with, against a guy like Clint Capella. But I don't think you rush it and potentially like force an injury or re-aggravating something in, a situation where it might not make the biggest impact, because they need help on offense. Is his 8 points per game going to give you that? I don't know.
I'm on the fence with it. Honestly, we were talking about this before the show started. And Chris, you brought up a good point saying if they make it to the second round, then they're going to start looking into it. But if they get to a point where they don't feel it'll really benefit them, and if they don't think him coming back in this high leverage of a situation where he's going to be asked to, guard Clint Capella, who's probably 50 pounds heavier than you and is most likely a better center than Robinson right now. On top of the fact that
Capella is a better player than Robinson right now.
Yeah, I
You
think
can
we
make
can
that
agree.
statement confidently.
And we're also going to ask you to just disrupt the Hawks. Oh, and we need you to throw dunks down. I don't know if that would be worth compromising him, because we have to remember, guys, he's going to get paid, and it's coming up like in the summertime. So the Knicks need to think about, are they going to pay this young center they acquired in the second round? And he was pretty much written off his rookie year, but has wildly exceeded the expectation. Is it worth, from Robinson's standpoint and from a business perspective, do you make the business decision to sit, get healthy, and get your money if you're him? And for the Knicks, do you go, you know what, we can get better?
Mitchell Robinson wants to play. I'll tell you that.
He does. If he wants to play,
he wants to be on the court.
The Knicks need to also think about their longevity of this team. I just feel that for him, if he wants to get paid, I would make the business decision. But for the Knicks as well, you have to think of longevity, because in the NBA, we see today Kristaps Porzingis, who we're going to be talking about later. He's kind of sort of got rushed back, I think, a little bit. And he had multiple knee surgeries last year and this year, and he doesn't look the same. We look at Anthony Davis, who, I mean, gets beat up literally every game by whoever he plays. And I mean, he just marches out there. But sometimes I wonder if he's fully healthy. LeBron is another example, but you guys know where I'm going with this. Is it worth it to come back now? In my opinion, no. I feel that him sitting and just taking it easy, that would just make the most sense in the world. They can retool for the next season. They can draft trades, whatever they do. I feel it would be better if they just think ahead for this situation.
Gotcha.